they were expecting what Leverkusen did off the kick-off at the start of that second half. They've done it before, and it was just a case, Martin, it seems like the players just weren't switched on to it.
Yeah, the players just switched off, fell asleep. And it's an example you can't afford to do that because you can almost be out of one of these competitions. Now it's straight knockout. So the rules are different. But the manager has to sort of juggle from game to game, competition to competition. And everything's just as big as the next one. So the game at the weekend now is all that matters. It's half time in one competition. But the most important thing is they get 3 points against Everton at the weekend.
Can that end up being a good thing in knockout football, especially in a first leg, the fact that they've had a bit of a wake-up call tonight, maybe?
Yep, they've had warnings. You've heard the manager's annoyed with you because he told you it was going to happen. You didn't wake up. And you've obviously got yourself back into this tie, but it hasn't cost you. So these kind of lessons can wake you up because we saw the games that are coming up. You'd be kicking yourself if it properly cost you. It cost you in the league, or it cost you in the cup final, or in the second leg. So I'm being a bit of a positive Patty tonight in all fronts, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But also positive tonight will be the Bayer Leverkusen team, Martin. They're going to fancy it now, aren't they, coming to the Emirates? The way they played tonight?
Well, we talked at the beginning about it being a young group and you get inconsistency, and maybe that's the best performance we see from them this season because it was a big game and they all delivered. It'd be different though. I can tell you it'd be different in the Emirates with the atmosphere that they have there now. It's pretty special. Things are building. And they'll use that energy to make it a very difficult night for Leverkusen. Obviously, Arsenal are strong favourites going into this one.
Squeaky bum time. Second leg. That second leg at the Emirates next week there. And overall, Karen, not the best performance from Arsenal tonight, but do you think they'll be happy bringing that result back to the Emirates next week?
Yeah, of course. I'm confident with them being at home. I was confident before the game, actually, but they were sloppy in possession tonight. In the final third, I thought they were too slow and didn't take the opportunities when there were spaces available. But ultimately, a good team, when you don't play well, you come away with a result and a positive one, and that was what it is. And hopefully now at the Emirates, they'll be a lot stronger and better.
Do you think they looked a bit fatigued, Arsenal, tonight? What was wrong with the performance, Martin? Because the majority of that team was completely different from the team who started in the FA Cup, so they had a rest.
10 changes, and you'd have thought there would have been a bit of freshness. There is the 46th game of the season. You are playing against a Leverkusen side who's quite underrated. You know, the home record there has been outstanding. So if you're sloppy at any point you go behind, it's going to be difficult to get back in. And that was the surprise from an Arsenal point of view. The tempo wasn't moving the ball nearly quick enough, particularly at the start of that second half, and they got punished.
And Leverkusen, they came out at the start of that second half, Karen. They flew out of the blocks and actually could have scored from the kick-off.
Yeah, Leverkusen came out, but Arsenal didn't, and that's where it started. From the kick-off, I think Saka just steps in as if to go, right, I'll go and press, and now fair play to Leverkusen. We said aesthetically they're a good team, they play through you, and they went, right, we'll throw this at Arsenal and see what they do. And to be fair, Raya comes off with an unbelievable save there, but switched off. Arsenal was still in at half-time in the dressing room, Martin.
And I think as well, so much now in the Premier League, these restarts, kick-offs particularly, are kicked out of play, and that was they tried to play through Arsenal, and then this would have been embarrassing because, you know, look at all those Arsenal players at the near post and the middle of the pitch, and there's just a movement at the back. I don't know if Eza slips and it's his man, but they get, I mean, it's far too easy. I mean, it's a free header at the back post. I don't think it'll happen again. It's very unusual. I think in 127 corners in the Bundesliga, I think they've only scored 4, but they've done pretty well with that one.
And unusual from an Arsenal point of view as well. They've only conceded from 4 corners in the Premier League, none in the Champions League until that moment.
Oh, and you saw the coach giving the Arsenal set-piece coach maybe a little bit of banter, saying you're not the only one who takes this seriously, and we saw something, a weakness in you, and it was because it was from the kick-off. They saw that, which is a set-piece, and obviously the vulnerabilities around the back post for that corner.
And Everton are probably going to look at that, Martin, and think we're going to do.
That's right. That was an up and under, wasn't it? That incredible kick-off. But there you are. You know, maybe we look at the Premier League and talk about, don't we, how good we are. But they were looking the German league. We're looking and saying, you know, we're trying to play through you, and it certainly worked tonight.
And of course, controversial, the fact the goal scorer perhaps shouldn't have been on the pitch still? What do we think? Because he was booked at the very beginning of that match, Karen, but there was a couple of fouls within the first 4.5 minutes from him.
I mean, that one's a very simple yellow card. Gyökeres has turned him, rolled him, and he's in there. There was a covering defender, but that is 100% a yellow card. And fair play to Gyökeres, he's playing up against him and putting himself in that position to maybe try and get him sent off. But that's a block. He knows what he's doing. I find him to be very lucky to still be on the pitch there. I think the ref has probably thought, I'll give you a little bit of a warning, but if he probably didn't have the first one, he would have got one for that one if he wasn't already on the yellow.
Well, it's exactly the sort of challenge you do not make when you're on a yellow card, so the referee very lenient.
And then Madueke came on. He came on for Bukayo Saka just before the hour mark in that match, Martin, and really did make a positive impact.
Yeah, definitely. Much more dynamic, really going at his defender. And for me, it was a penalty. You had to see it from different angles first, but that left foot definitely gets trapped in from the backside or torso of Tillman. For me, there's no doubt about that. Okay. But I think it was
if that was given against Arsenal, though, what would you be thinking?
Well, you're turning things around there. It wasn't, Lindsay. There wasn't a penalty given against
But would you be saying to me he hardly touched him?
Well, what I will say is that VAR won't go. VAR won't go against that if there's any kind of contact, and we can see there was contact. By the way, what I will say, this took a lot of bottle because that's the one player who probably had the most to lose in this moment, and he wanted it. And that, for me, is really impressive. Puts it away emphatically. Too much pace on it for the keeper.
It was against his old team, isn't he? He's been out for a long time with the injuries. Yes, he's been coming back, but the pressure to do it against your old team when you're 1-0 down, that's where you are, right? But he also needs that for his confidence as well. So, but fair play to him.
His old team who gave him a plaque before the game, and that's how he repaid them.
Arsenal salvaged a dramatic 1-1 draw against Bayer Leverkusen in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League Round of 16 tie at the BayArena on March 11, 2026. The Gunners, chasing a quadruple, fell behind early in the second half but fought back with a last-gasp penalty from substitute Kai Havertz to keep the tie finally balanced ahead of the Emirates' return on March 17. Robert Andrich headed Leverkusen ahead in the 46th minute from Alejandro Grimaldo's cross, marking the first time Arsenal had trailed in Europe this season and ending their 8-game Champions League winning streak. The hosts dominated much of the contest, but Arsenal grew into the game. In the 89th minute, Noni Madueke's tricky run earned a penalty after a foul by Malik Tillman, confirmed after a lengthy VAR check. Havertz, returning to his boyhood club, stepped up with ice-cool composure to slot home low past Janis Blaswich, silencing the home crowd who had cheered his name earlier. Mikel Arteta went absolutely crazy on the touchline, erupting in wild celebrations, fist-pumping, roaring, and embracing staff as the equalizer sparked euphoric scenes. Post-match, he praised the resilience, huge credit to the boys for fighting until the end. Kai showed big composure in a massive moment. It's a good result away, we're alive in the tie. On CBS Sports Galazzo, Thierry Henry was buzzing yet critical. What a moment from Havertz, coming back to haunt his old club. Arsenal were off it for spells, but that heart and fight, they'll qualify, no doubt. Arteta's side has that belief. Jamie Carragher, on Sky Sports, echoed the sentiment. Arsenal rode their luck, but Havertz's penalty is massive. Leverkusen were the better team, but the Gunners grind out results. This keeps their quadruple dream alive. Expect fireworks in London. The draw leaves everything to play for, with Arsenal's momentum intact despite a below-par display. Havertz's heroics ensure the tie remains wide open. Please like and subscribe.